Guys, Jay here from MJ Tech. Today here with another electric bicycle. This one has an amazing price for what it is. We are talking about the VARUN. Now, I search everywhere. It doesn't really have a model. It just goes by the size. This one has 26-inch tires by 4 inches, which is the biggest that I've ever had. Before this one, the biggest bike was a 26-inch by 3-inch. Now, this one does have amazing specs at this price point. And of course, that's why we're conducting this kind of video to see if it's worth it or not. Right now, the price on this is $10.99, meaning $1,099. On the rear and the front, you get a front light as well. And the design really looks great for what it is, guys. This one has a 48-volt system. The battery is a 16.8 amp hour and it has 750 watts. Now, according to the specs, they are claiming that it can go up to 20 miles an hour, and I'm pretty sure that's to save battery, but we can always unrestrict the bike and really get the full potential of it. So that's why, like I said, guys, we are doing this kind of video. I love e-bikes. I know a lot of people do out there, and well, I'll continue to do it until I can't speak any longer, guys. This thing is really, really cool. Check out here the interior. It came very well packed, and we can see those massive tires already. What a beauty. Check this out, guys. So it came with this box inside of the big box as well. I'm assuming this is where the hardware and seats are. And wow, this is a massive motor on the back side here. Let's go ahead and remove this little piece of foam and let's tilt it. It is not a Bafang motor, but it's still pretty sure it'll last a long time. Now, in terms of the tires, these are puncture proof as well. So we have two little boxes inside. One of them was attached to the wheel and the other came inside of the big box, as I already explained. So let's go ahead and cut it open and see what we get. I'm assuming it's going to be, like I said, the hardware and possibly the seat. And yep, we have the seat right here with the VARUN branding. We get the pedals, super easy to install. You have the R for right, the L for left. We get the manuals. We have some tools in here, which is nice. I'm pretty sure that with these tools we can install everything. I like to use my own tools as they are a little bit more powerful. We have a reflector on the back. So this is the charger, and since it is a 48 volts, I would assume that this is at least a 54 volt or more charger. Yes, 54.6 2-amp charger, and it charges the battery in around 4 to 6 hours approximately. So this is always recommended that you guys do this before you operate the battery. First things first, we had to assemble here the front tire before we can bring this bike down. So this is a size 5 bolt. We had to assemble the front light because otherwise the tire would not fit in here. This is going to get on the way right about there. This is why I like impact drills, just because they make things so much easier. So our next step here is to, of course, now install the front tire. Before we get to that, there's a little piece of cardboard separating the pads. Make sure that you take it off, otherwise your disc is going to have a hard time getting in there. And also remove this piece that came as a support for the suspension. Alright guys, a little cheat that you can do is loosen up these 15mm bolts almost to the end, so that way you have the pins already in there. And now you simply slide it through here. And keep in mind that you had that disc brake to worry about, so make sure that you get it right the first time. And now we do the other side as well. There we go. As for the pedals, as I said before, we have the R for right, so that's going to be the right side of the bike. This one is clockwise position, so it is like a standard thread. and you will need a 15mm wrench in order to get this tightened. So there we go. And as I said, the left side is counterclockwise. To undo the battery, it's quite simple. Just grab your key. Right now you have it on the locking position. Flick the key to the unlocking position. And then you have another latch here that you twist, and the whole battery comes right out, guys. And right here we can read the specifications. Once again, 48 volts, 16.8 amp hour, 106 watt hour total, 48 volts. And so yes, we can charge it directly from here or from the bike. So right now what I'm going to do is have it here to where I can, it seems like it's fully charged, but I'm still going to charge it fully with the charger while we're doing the rest of the assembly, in which now we're going to bring it down. All we have left is the seat post and the handlebar. That's pretty much it, guys. Something I almost forgot to mention is that we had to attach the rear fender, so I had to retake this bolt out. And basically it has a little bracket that goes on the back side of the bolt. Then put the nut, tighten it up, and it looks great. Our next step here is to install the handlebar. This is a size 4 bolt. You have 4 of them. So just get your socket or use the tools included to remove all of the screws. Once you get the proper position, now we can tighten the screws. Don't forget that sometimes connections do come loose. If that happens, just point the arrow with the arrow on each connection. Also match it. Typically they have the same color. And just again check all of the other connections, make sure that they go all the way in. I just found 3 loose connections, and that way you ensure that the bike works properly at all times. Now we are working here on the seat itself. So basically you loosen up this 6mm Allen bolt, and then you clamp it on here to the seat, and now you tighten up the bolt. There you go. And we are almost set, guys. Let's go ahead and loosen this up a little bit. And boom. Let's not forget that the stem of the bike does come a little bit loose, so to tighten it up, I would recommend getting this 5mm Allen bolt tightened before we do the sides, which are 4. And there we go. Now we do the sides. Again, these are size 4. So there we go. We got 1, and the other one. Here we go with the rear tire inflation. These can hold up to 30 psi maximum, and we will inflate them at 30 psi, as I do like it a little bit firmer. And we have it at 38. Let's bring down this to 30 psi, and these come with about 10. Let's pump it up. And there we go. So now we're going to do here the front tire. It comes at 9 psi. We will do 28 psi for the front, which I already set it up. Alright guys, when it comes to starting up the bike, it's quite simple. This is what they call the key display, and it is very common on many electric bikes. So to get started, you simply press and hold here the power key for about 2 seconds approximately, and you will get prompted with all of the settings here on this display. The first thing that we see on the upper left is the battery indicator. We have now converted it to miles per hour. It used to be in kilometers. I'm going to teach you how to do that. We have here the odometer by default, so we have about 2.4 miles into the bike. Yes, I already rode it, tested it a little bit, and this thing is amazing. So to increase the speed, you simply press here on the plus, and then you have 3 different modes in which you can change later on. If you quickly press on the power key, you have trip, then you have the time that the bike has been turned on. Then you get the wattage power coming out of the motor. So this helps you keep track on how hard you're using that motor. And then it goes back into the odometer as well. Now we have the advanced settings. To get into them, this is how you change from kilometers to miles per hour. This is not in the manuals, by the way. You press and hold the plus and minus key for a few seconds until you get prompted with TC. Now this is in case you guys want to reset everything on your display. You click on the plus and then you click or take it to where it says Y. You press the power key and that confirms it, but for right now we're going to leave it on the N. Then here we have the BL. This is for your backlight. So if we decrease it, you can see how the brightness goes down. If we increase it, the brightness goes up. I like to keep it bright. Now this will get enabled once you turn on your headlight, in which I'm going to teach you how to do that also. So then we have here the U1. The U1, this is for your miles or kilometers. So if I go into number 2, it changes it into kilometers. Here in the US, we mainly use miles per hour, or at least I am accustomed more to miles per hour, so we're going to leave it at that. And then it goes back here into TCN, and to go even to more advanced settings, you press and hold the power and the minus being on this menu. And this is for the wheel diameter. This you want to leave it alone, guys. We have the next one here, which is the L5, or at least it says L5 on there. This is for your speed control. Now if you decrease it, your bike will get restricted. The maximum that we can go here is up to 40, so the bike technically is fully unlocked, and now we're going to get the max potential out of it. And I believe this bike does go a little bit above the 20 miles an hour that they're claiming, guys. It does about 24, approximately 24, 25, which is common on a 750 watt motor. To turn on the headlight, you press and hold the plus key, and you can see how now the display lights up and the light just came on. To turn it off, you do the same thing in reverse, and the LCD display will come off as well, at least for the back light, guys. And that's pretty much it. So of course we have the regular controls. You get your 2 brake levers. We have one here and one on the opposite side here. You get your Shimano 7-speed gear selector. Now it doesn't have a horn, guys, so you get a little bell that goes on like this, and then you get your throttle just like any other e-bike. And with this being said, let's go on for a ride, test it out, and see how good this thing really is. Alright guys, so first things first, let's go ahead and turn this thing on. As I mentioned before, we had 3 different speeds. Now we will test each speed. So this is speed number 1, and we are doing it with pedal assist. So even if we do it with the throttle, it's about the same, nothing really changes. So it does about 13 miles an hour on speed 1. Let's try speed 2. Speed 2 bumps it to 15 miles an hour. And then speed 3, that's when it bumps it to a little bit more. But of course we need more room to test it. So we know that speed 1 does about 12 miles, 13. 2 does about 15, 16. And speed 3 so far is doing 20. And it seems like we're steady doing 20. The speedometer on this screen is actually quite accurate, guys. We are steadily doing 20. But now this being a 750 watt e-bike, I feel like we can definitely do a lot faster, guys. I've seen these go up to 32 miles an hour. So I have no doubts in believing that this e-bike is actually restricted. So of course we have more gears here to select from. Let's keep it right there around 5th gear. That way I can pedal and it feels like I'm doing something. Well, like I said, guys, even if we pedal, it still feels the same way. The derailleur on this bike came surprisingly calibrated. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting that maybe I had to do a little bit of work in it, as most of these you know, Chinese-made bikes, they tend to not have the best quality control. But this one here, guys, the VARUN, is quite good. The suspension feels great. And also I was surprised to see that these are 26 by 4-inch tires, and they can take up to 30 psi. Normally these tires don't take more than like 10-12 maximum, but with this one, guys, we can actually go a little bit above and beyond. Let's do an abrupt stop here. Let's see how good it is. And I gotta say, guys, brakes are good. Keep in mind that these are not hydraulics, something that I am not a fan of. I prefer to have hydraulic brakes on bikes of this magnitude, especially if I unlock the speed. I definitely want to you know, get better brakes. Alright guys, here for the fun of it, we are going more into where the main roads are, just to get a feel for it. Typically we go to parks, but I decided to do something a little bit different today, and it feels fantastic. Beautiful evening here in Florida today. Bike riding is a must on a day like this, especially since I took some time off from work. Feels great, guys. Now the rear suspension is a little bit stiff for my legs. They're not adjustable. We can call that a cons. Not being able to adjust the suspension on a bike like this. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below about suspension not being adjustable. Me personally, I would have preferred if it was adjustable. I believe the side rusher that I reviewed some time ago did have a adjustable suspension, guys. So far, guys, we have put about 3 miles and a half into the bike, and the battery hasn't changed a bit. So far, so good. These tires are good for all kinds of terrain. You could be doing off-roading, mountains, a place where there's a lot of rocks, and being puncture proof definitely adds to it, guys. Here in Florida, we don't have any hills that I can say we can test the capability of the bike going uphill. There's only one park in which I usually go to. Well, let's admit it, guys, this thing has a 750 watt motor, 48 volts. We know that it can go uphill. I would say no more than a 20-degree incline. It should be just fine. Anything above that, you're gonna have to pedal to help it a little bit. That's for sure, guys. to cross. Well guys, now we're doing a little bit of off-roading here with the bike, and this is just to show you guys that this thing's quite smooth. I mean, right now I can feel that suspension doing its job, and this is soft sand as well, so it's a little harder to get. Whew. Yes guys, it is way harder than I anticipated to get on here, but hey, we're doing it. Let's go on the grass side. I'm pretty sure that if I had a standard bike with standard tires, I wouldn't be able to do this. I can feel that suspension just going up and down, guys, from both sides. The back and the front. But it's doing it like nothing, guys. We're doing 18 miles an hour right here. Another cool part about this bike is that nothing really rattles on here. I don't know if you guys can hear to this, but nothing is really rattling. Everything feels nice and firm. A little scary here. Pretty sure I'm gonna have to grab my compressor and blow everything off. Because the chain, you know how it is, it gets a lot of sand and dirt. That's not good for the bike, guys. So this is the end of our off-road testing. Almost 7 miles now, guys. You're still at full capacity on the battery. Also, the tires seem to be seated correctly. They're not wobbly. I've had bikes before with fat tires where they were not seated correctly and you can feel the wobble as you rode the bike. That's not the case here with the VARUN. Tires are very nice and solid, and like I've been saying about 3 times now, they are puncture proof. Alright guys, so we're about to come to an end here for the testing of this bike. It's been a great experience so far. As per the longevity, we know that, well, we're going to have to keep it for a little bit longer. But so far, at this price point, guys, it is a great bike. Very impressive, especially if you like to do a little bit of everything. You like to be in the city, off-roading, mountains. This is a cool bike to consider. Alrighty guys, so here we have it for the VARUN unboxing, setup, and review. This is a very good bike for the money, $10.99, and you are getting a 750 watt motor, 48 volt battery, 16.8 amp hours, 680 I think watt hours. And so yeah, this is a bike that will give you a long range. I love the rear suspension right here. This one is made by Fast Ace. Not adjustable, but it does the job. It's a little bit more on the firm side. You see I'm 225 pounds and it does bounce, but not as much as I would have liked. It does better on off-roads, I guess, because all of the stress being caused by the bumps. The tires are pretty good. I don't have any complaints about the tires. They are quite solid and puncture proof. Things that I didn't like about this bike was the fact that it doesn't have hydraulic brakes. That's one of them. Second, it doesn't have a tail light. Not foldable. It doesn't have a horn, and the seat could have been a little bit wider. But for $10.99, you guys can't complain. You can't ask for much more, guys. Last time I had a bike similar to this, it was about $2,600, and that was the Side Rusher. So the biggest thing here, in case I unlock it, are the brakes. They do work, but hydraulic brakes would have been a lot better. So maybe this is something that VARUN can consider in the future. And so yes, with this being said, guys, let me know what you think down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, follow for more, click on the bell